High Admiral Venra watched the holographic display with mounting dread as another defense platform winked out of existence. The Nexus swarm had breached the outer defenses of Valfor Prime, humanity's last known coordinates lost somewhere in these archives. If they fell today, their last hope would die with them. "Status report," she commanded, her crystalline appendages reflecting the emergency lights that bathed the underground command center in crimson. 3 more high ships detected entering the system. "Admiral," reported Commander Zix, his insectoid mandibles clicking with anxiety. "Defensive grid Omega is down to 23% capacity. Civilian evacuation is at 67%. Venra's inner light pulsed with determination. For 3 centuries, the Valforan Alliance had held the line against the Nexus swarm, an endless tide of biomechanical horrors that emerged from the galactic core. But now, they faced extinction. Unless they could find it. The coordinates to Earth, sealed away in the oldest section of their archives. "Admiral." Lieutenant Kara burst into the command center, her bioluminescent skin flashing with excitement. "We found something in Archive Section 847X, a star chart, predating the Great Silence. The Great Silence, when humanity simply vanished from the galaxy 4 millennia ago, leaving behind only whispered legends of their incredible achievements and terrible weapons. Some said they ascended to a higher plane. Others believed they destroyed themselves. The truth remained a mystery that had tantalized scholars for generations. Deep beneath the surface, in a chamber that hadn't seen light in thousands of years, Venra studied the ancient star chart. The markings were unlike anything in modern galactic cartography, but there was something hauntingly familiar about the spiral pattern. "It's encrypted," Kara explained, her tentacles dancing over the holographic controls. "But look at this signature pattern. It matches fragments we found in other human artifacts. This has to be it." Above them, the battle rage. The Nexus swarm's biomechanical ships darkened the skies, their quantum-tipped weapons cutting through planetary shields designed to withstand supernovas. The Valforan fleet fought with desperate valor, but they were being overwhelmed. "How long to decrypt it?" Venra demanded. "Hours, maybe days," Kara admitted. "The encryption is unlike anything we've seen. It's alive somehow, adapting to our attempts to." An explosion rocked the facility. Warning klaxons blared as dust rained from the ceiling. "Breach in Sector 7, Zix reported. "Swarm ground forces have penetrated the upper levels." Venra made her decision. "Begin emergency upload of all archive data to the seed ship protocols. Kara, get that star chart and everything related to it onto a quantum core. We're evacuating." "But Admiral, the civilian transports. We'll have to manage without us. If we lose these coordinates, we lose everything." Venra's inner light pulsed with the gravity of her words. Humanity is the only civilization to ever drive back the swarm. 4,000 years ago, they fought them to a standstill before disappearing. We need them back. The next hours were a blur of desperate fighting and frantic data transfers. The Valforan Guard held the line against waves of biomechanical horrors, buying time with their lives. When Venra's small ship finally broke atmosphere, Valfor Prime was burning. But they had it, the key to humanity's lost home, encrypted in patterns of light and mathematics so advanced they seemed like magic. As her ship jumped to hyperspace, Venra watched her homeworld disappear into the distance. They would return, she swore. With humanity at their side, they would return and reclaim everything. The hunt for Earth had begun, but humanity's descendants might be very different from the legends. After 4,000 years of isolation, what would they find? And more importantly, what had humanity become? The ancient station hung in the void like a forgotten dream, its sharp angles and obsidian surfaces absorbing nearby starlight. Venra's expedition ship, the Last Light, approached cautiously. After 3 months of following the encrypted coordinates, they'd finally found something that could only be of human origin. "Energy readings are impossible," Chief Engineer Trell muttered, his root-like sensory tendrils twitching. The station's been dormant for millennia, but I'm detecting power signatures that dwarf our ship's reactor. Kara, who hadn't left the decrypt systems for days, looked up from her console. The star chart led us true. This has to be one of their waypoints, a breadcrumb left behind when they retreated from known space. The station was massive, easily 20 kilometers long, its architecture unlike anything in known space. Where modern ships favored organic curves and flowing lines, this construct was all hard edges and geometric precision, radiating an aura of calculated purpose. "We're being scanned," Trell announced suddenly. "Multiple frequencies, technologies we've never—" "Wait, something's happening." Lines of blue light suddenly traced across the station's surface like digital veins awakening. A voice filled their comm system, speaking in perfect modern galactic standard. "Guardian Protocolo active. Identifying visitors. Vialthoran alliance DTCTE. Analyzing 3T Allevial. Analyzing Qgar Oriente Galactic T. US. Next US swarm presence co-environment. Initiating PYMARI directive." The station's surface began to transform. Massive sections shifted and rotated, revealing docking bays and what could only be weapons arrays of staggering sophistication. But more importantly, ships began emerging. Dozens, then hundreds of them. They were sleek, predatory vessels that made the last light look primitive by comparison. By the first light, Venro whispered. They never left. They were waiting. A new voice came over the comms, this one unmistakably human. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've been monitoring galactic developments for 4 millennia. Your arrival has initiated our return protocol." The human commander's image appeared on their view screen. She looked remarkably similar to ancient depictions, bipedal, soft-skinned, but her eyes held depths of knowledge that made Venra's crystalline form resonate with both hope and unease. "The Nexus swarm has returned," Venra stated simply. "We need humanity's help." "We know." Commander Chen's expression was grim. "We've been preparing for this moment since we withdrew. The swarm you face now is nothing compared to what we fought in the first incursion. They adapt, they evolve, but so have we." More stations were awakening across the sector. The humans had never abandoned the galaxy. They had transformed themselves into its hidden guardians, watching, waiting, and advancing their technology far beyond anything the Alliance had dreamed possible. "Your people's legends about us," Chen continued. "They remember our weapons, our victories, but they forgot why we left. The swarm isn't just a military threat. It's an evolutionary one. We needed time to become something that could defeat them permanently." The implication slowly dawned on Venra. "You've spent 4,000 years evolving, engineering ourselves, our technology, our very consciousness." Chen's smile held secrets that made Venra's crystalline matrix vibrate with anticipation. "We're not the humans of legend, Admiral. We're what humanity needed to become." As if to demonstrate, Chen's form shifted, her body seamlessly interfacing with her command chair until it was unclear where human ended and technology began. "Your arrival tells us the galaxy is ready. The swarm has grown strong in our absence, but so have we. It's time to show them what humanity has become." Around them, more ships emerged from hidden docks, each one a testament to 4 millennia of focused evolution and technological advancement. They were no longer just ships. They were extensions of humanity's transformed consciousness, weapons built with the understanding of 4,000 years of preparation. "Welcome," Chen said, "to the first day of the counter-invasion." The training arena aboard the human flagship Genesis spanned several kilometers, a space where reality itself seemed negotiable. Venra watched in amazement as human warriors demonstrated their evolution. Their bodies shifted between solid and energy states, merging with their equipment in ways that defied conventional physics. Your people still think in terms of ships, weapons, and soldiers, Commander Chen explained, her form now a shifting constellation of light and matter. We've moved beyond such distinctions. Every human is now a weapons platform, a starship, and a quantum computer simultaneously. A demonstration was underway. A single human operative faced off against a simulated Nexus swarm attack. The operative's body fractalized, splitting into multiple quantum states, each engaging different targets. Energy weapons that would have vaporized conventional matter passed harmlessly through their shifting form. During our isolation, we discovered that consciousness itself could be weaponized, Chen continued. We learned to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, to process reality at the quantum level. The swarm adapts through biological and mechanical means. We adapted by transcending the distinction between mind and matter. Kara, who had been invited to observe alongside Venra, could barely contain her excitement. But how can you teach us to fight alongside you? We haven't had 4,000 years to evolve. Chen's form coalesced into something more humanoid, though still flickering with internal energies. We've developed interfaces that will allow your ships and weapons to synchronize with our quantum field. It won't give you our abilities, but it will let you operate within our combat paradigm. The next few weeks were a crash course in warfare beyond conventional physics. Human technicians, if they could still be called that, modified alliance ships with technology that bordered on mystical. Quantum field generators allowed their vessels to phase partially out of normal space, while consciousness-linked targeting systems let crews perceive battles in 11 dimensions. The swarm's greatest advantage was always their ability to adapt, Chen explained during a strategy session. They would analyze weapon frequencies, develop countermeasures, evolve new defenses. But they still think linearly. They can't adapt to what they can't comprehend. The changes weren't just technological. Human scientists worked with alliance medical teams, developing treatments that would allow other species to perceive and process combat at accelerated rates. Neural interfaces merged crew consciousness with their ship systems, creating gestalt entities that could react at quantum speeds. But not everyone embraced the changes. Many Alliance soldiers struggled with the conceptual leaps required, their minds rebelling against realities that defied traditional physics. Some experienced psychological breaks when first connecting to the quantum field interfaces. Your civilization has developed along traditional technological paths for millennia, Chen said to Venra after a particularly difficult training session. We're asking you to unlearn everything you know about physics, warfare, even existence itself. It's not easy. The breakthrough came during a simulated battle scenario. An Alliance crew, connected through their new quantum interfaces, faced off against a recreated swarm assault. Instead of fighting conventionally, they followed their human trainer's guidance, allowing their consciousness to spread across multiple dimensions, perceiving the battle as patterns of probability rather than physical combat. The result was devastating. The simulated swarm couldn't adapt because there was nothing solid to adapt to. The Alliance ships existed in quantum superposition, their weapons striking from angles that didn't exist in normal space. Now you're beginning to understand, Chen said, her satisfaction evident even through her ethereal form. The swarm thinks it's facing the same galaxy it nearly conquered 4,000 years ago. Instead, it's about to face a galaxy defended by warriors who have transcended the laws of physics themselves. But time was running out. Intelligence suggested the swarm was massing for a major offensive against the remaining Alliance worlds. They would have to take the fight to the enemy soon, ready or not. The question was, would these new quantum combat techniques be enough to turn the tide, or had the swarm evolved its own surprises during humanity's long absence? The Nexus swarm never saw the attack coming. Their massive fleet hung in orbit around the conquered world of Valfor Prime, biomechanical ships clustered like angry wasps around a hive. They had adapted to every weapon, every strategy the galaxy had ever used against them. But they hadn't adapted to this. The first sign of battle wasn't weapons fire or ship movements. It was reality itself folding. Human vessels emerged from quantum states that shouldn't exist, their forms flowing between dimensions like water through cracks. The swarm's adaptive shields flickered uselessly, trying to defend against attacks coming from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Multiple quantum insertion points established, reported the Alliance carrier Dawning Light. Its crew's consciousness merged with their ship through human interfaces. Phase space disruption at optimal levels. Commander Chen's voice echoed across all frequencies, her words carrying encoded quantum data that the modified Alliance ships could now process. Execute protocol sundering. Show them what we've learned in 4,000 years. The battle that followed defied conventional description. Human ships existed in multiple places simultaneously, their weapons firing from angles that broke the laws of physics. Alliance vessels, guided by their quantum interfaces, followed in their wake, striking through gaps in reality their enemies couldn't even perceive. The swarm reacted with characteristic speed, their ships morphing and adapting. But for the first time in their existence, adaptation proved useless. How do you evolve defenses against an enemy that attacks from between the moments of time itself? They're attempting to analyze our attack patterns, Venray observed from her command station, her crystalline form resonating with the quantum energies flowing through her ship. But there are no patterns to analyze. Every attack exists in a superposition of states. Exactly. Chen's voice held grim satisfaction. They've spent millennia evolving perfect defenses against conventional warfare. But they're still bound by linear time and three-dimensional space. We're not. The swarm's response was desperate and devastating. Entire ships sacrificed themselves in suicide runs, their deaths releasing waves of corrupted space-time. Others transformed into living weapons that ignored conventional physics in their own way, trying to match humanity's dimensional warfare with biological impossibilities. But humanity had planned for this too. As the swarm ships began their kamikaze runs, human vessels shifted into pure consciousness, becoming patterns of thought that couldn't be harmed by physical attacks. Alliance ships, protected by their quantum fields, rode out the space-time disruptions like surfers on waves. Target their consciousness nexus, Chen commanded. Every swarm ship is connected to a central intelligence. We're not here to destroy their bodies. We're here to shatter their unified mind. The human fleet's formation shifted into a complex geometric pattern that hurt to look at directly. Energy began to flow between ships in ways that ignored causality itself. This wasn't a battle anymore. It was surgery on the fabric of reality. A pulse of pure thought, refined by 4,000 years of evolution, struck at the heart of the swarm's collective consciousness. For a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the swarm ships began to fall silent, their unified intelligence fragmenting under an attack it couldn't even comprehend. Neural disruption successful, reported the Dawning Light. Swarm ships are losing cohesion. Individual units are reverting to basic survival protocols. The victory was swift, but not complete. Even as they watched, some of the surviving swarm ships began to adapt, their biological computers restructuring themselves around the trauma of the quantum attack. They retreated in fragments, their once unified fleet now a scattered collection of individual entities. They'll be back, Chen said, her form stabilizing enough to appear on the Alliance ship's bridges. This was just one battle group. The main swarm consciousness will analyze this defeat and try to adapt. But now they know what they're facing, and for the first time in their existence, they know fear. As the Alliance fleet began securing the system, Venra watched the human ships moving through space like living mathematics. She wondered what other surprises humanity had developed in their long isolation. And more importantly, she wondered if the galaxy was ready for what humanity had become. The real war was just beginning. The swarm would return, stronger and more desperate than ever. But humanity had shown their hand, and it was a hand that held cards from dimensions the enemy didn't even know existed. The galactic core blazed with impossible light as two forces that had transcended conventional existence clashed in the void. The swarm had finally revealed its true form, a vast, universe-spanning consciousness that had been building itself for millions of years. But humanity had spent 4 millennia becoming something equally extraordinary. They're attempting to rewrite local physics. Chen's voice echoed across the quantum network linking the combined human alliance fleet. Her form now existed as a pattern of pure energy, dancing between dimensions. They've been saving this capability, waiting for an opponent worthy of their full evolution. The space around them warped and twisted as the swarm tried to change the fundamental rules of reality. Stars flickered like dying flames as laws of physics were rewritten and discarded. But humanity had anticipated even this. Execute final protocol, Chen commanded. Show them what we really became during our exile. The human fleet began to merge, not just with their ships or with each other, but with space-time itself. 4,000 years of evolution had led to this moment. Each human consciousness expanded outward, connecting with others, forming a vast web of thought that rivaled the swarm's own network. Venera and the Alliance forces watched in awe through their quantum interfaces as humanity revealed their ultimate transformation. They hadn't just evolved beyond physical form. They had become living mathematics, pure consciousness capable of redefining reality itself. We didn't spend 4 millennia hiding. Chen's voice resonated through multiple dimensions. We spent it becoming the universe's immune system. The battle that followed transcended any normal understanding of combat. The swarm tried to rewrite physics, but humanity had become the equations themselves. Where the swarm attempted to corrupt space-time, human consciousness reinforced it. Reality itself became their battlefield, with entire solar systems as mere playing pieces in their game of cosmic chess. Now, Venera, Chen called out, while we hold their attention, execute the sequence. The Alliance fleet, connected through their quantum interfaces, began their carefully planned role. While humanity engaged the swarm in battles beyond comprehension, Alliance ships moved through the gaps in reality their war created. They carried payloads designed by human scientists, weapons that didn't destroy, but transformed. The weapons struck the swarm's consciousness network not with energy or matter, but with ideas, concepts of individuality, of choice, of freedom from the endless cycle of consumption and adaptation. The swarm's unified mind began to fragment, not through destruction, but through enlightenment. We could have tried to destroy them, Chen explained as the swarm's vast network began to break apart. But we became something greater than destroyers during our isolation. We became teachers. The swarm's consciousness, for the first time in its existence, began to question its own nature. Millions of individual minds, long subsumed into the collective, awakened to their own existence. The battle ended not with extinction, but with transformation. As reality stabilized around them, the remnants of the swarm withdrew, not in defeat, but in contemplation. They had encountered something they couldn't adapt to by simply becoming stronger or more aggressive. They had encountered an enemy that offered evolution through understanding rather than conflict. It will take time, Chen said, her form gradually coalescing back into something the Alliance species could comprehend. But they've begun to change. Just as we did, they'll learn there are better paths than endless consumption and adaptation. Venera looked out at the galaxy, forever changed by what had transpired. What happens now? She asked. Now comes the hard part, Chen replied. We help rebuild. We teach. We guide. The galaxy needed warriors to stop the swarm, but it needs teachers to prevent the next swarm from emerging. That's what we really became during our exile. Not just warriors, but mentors for a universe that's ready to evolve. As the combined fleet began the journey home, Venera reflected on how the legends had gotten it wrong. They had remembered humanity's weapons, their fierceness, their determination. But they had missed the most important part, humanity's capacity to transcend conflict itself, to become something greater than mere survivors or conquerors. The galaxy was entering a new age. Humanity had returned not to rule or to save, but to guide. And in their evolution, they had shown that the greatest victory wasn't in destroying your enemies, but in helping them become something better than they were. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the promise of what was to come. The age of war was ending. The age of understanding was just beginning.